Welcome to the Scoop School podcast, where we tackle your conundrums about the retail ice cream and frozen dessert business. And now, here's your host. He's delivered more scoops than 60 Minutes. The ice cream bloke and self-appointed headmaster of Scoop School, Steve Christensen.
G'day ice cream lovers, my name's Steve Christensen. Thank you Mr. Announcer Man. Welcome to this episode of the Scoop School podcast. Whether you're watching on video or audio, nice to have you here. We've got a great topic today. We're talking about your labour cost and how to reduce it. But before we do that, I do want to thank our episode sponsor, which is the Chocolate Shop Ice Cream Company. Dave Dedman, Chuck Dedman, and the whole family there have been in this multi-generational ice cream business where they are making ice cream for you to basically be able to buy and resell. It's great quality ice cream. They have a beautiful range of ice creams, as well as making some proprietary blends if you need the volume or have the volume. So go to chocolateshopicecream.com. That's chocolate shop. It's ye olde time shops, S-H-O-P-P-E, chocolateshopicecream.com, or reach out to Sarah or Dave or anyone there in their production sales stuff. They'll do the right thing by you. They are master ice cream makers as decided by the National Ice Cream Retailers Association, so that means a lot to you and your quality of scoop shop ice cream. So go and see them there, and we thank them for their sponsorship. Now we're going to talk about labour cost this particular episode. It's extremely important. We did speak about food cost in a previous episode. Today we're looking at labour cost. Now, there's a couple of essential things that you need to be doing to understand where your labour cost is at. The first of which is that you need to understand what goes into your labour cost. It's not just the salary. If you have a payroll company that's generating payroll for you, that cost also needs to be in there. If you are giving some of your employees benefits like their superannuation, 401k, any health benefits, that cost needs to go in. If you have a company that's doing your bookkeeping and they are doing payroll for you, that also needs to go in. In order for you to get a really good understanding of what your payroll cost percentage is, you need to be able to put all of those elements in. Leaving some of them out and putting them in a miscellaneous folder is really going to mess up those figures, and you won't get a true understanding of your labour cost. So number one is make sure that all of your labour cost and the labour that you put together is all accounted for. The second is to be able to do a regular calculation of what your labour cost percentage is. Now the labour cost percentage is pretty easy to work out. It's primarily your labour cost that we just spoke about, the cost of your labour for a particular period of time, divided by the revenue that came over the store counter or through the registers for that same period of time. So let's say, for example, this month I'm paying $4,000 in my labour cost. Again, that's my labour, my payroll tax, the company that does my paychecks, as well as maybe an accountant that does the calculation for me, $4,000. And in order to do the calculation, I need to figure out what my sales were, my gross sales were for that particular month. Let's say they were $40,000. So we divide $4,000 by $40,000 and we get 10%. Now I'm just using those numbers as a easy calculation, because really the cap on our labour cost percentage should be at 30%. Now again, when we spoke about food cost, it was the same number, 30%. 30% food cost, 30% labour cost. That being said, that's not your goal, that's your cap. So the more percentage points that you can bring your labour costs down, the more percentage points go into your net profitability. So you really need to be aware of A, what your labour cost percentage is, before you can look at how you can reduce it. We're going to talk about reducing it in another video or another podcast session. But it's important for you to understand exactly where it is. One last point. I get very, very concerned when people reach out to us at Scoop School and we get through the process of helping them fine-tune their business, and they end up saying, I haven't done a labour costs calculation for months. There should be no reason why every single payroll, when you're writing down that number that you're paying your employees for this particular period of time, whether it be a week or 2 weeks, you should be taking that number and dividing it by your gross sales for that particular time to find out what your food cost is. There should be not one payroll period go by where you don't do that very simple calculation and figure out what your labor cost percentage is. Extremely important. If you're not doing it, I really stress that you should. It's important for you to understand where your labor cost is. If it's over 30%, we're going to have to start reducing that down somehow. We're going to talk about that in another episode. But right now, be aware of what your payroll cost is, what the revenue is for that particular period, and make sure every pay period you're doing a labor cost projection or a labor cost calculation. If it's over 30%, then you and I need to talk. That's all we have time for this episode. Again, we're thankful for Dave Dedman and all of his family business there at Chocolate Shop Ice Cream. Thank you for the sponsorship. If you have any questions, concerns, please reach out to us at scoopschool.com. Keep on scooping, folks. We'll see you in the next video.